Hi there, it's Kirk. Welcome to the A.D.K Rock and Metal channel. Dave and Andy are not with us tonight. They're on other duties, interviewing other bands, and I demanded to interview this band in front of me, the Hertfordshire, Bedfordshire based, am I right?
Yeah,
I think it's just Hertfordshire.
Well, yeah, maybe just Hertfordshire.
It is just Hertfordshire, yeah. So hard rocking metal quartet at the moment. Buried on Sunday.
Yep.
Formed in 2020, so possibly a COVID band, and you two are the founding members and principal songwriters. Just before we talk about the debut album that you released last year and go through some of the tracks, can you just tell us the current situation? Your rhythm guitar player Omar has left. What's the reason? What are the plans to replace?
He's just got too much going on in his life.
Yeah.
I think because of everything going on, he's just sort of his heart's not in it anymore. But like, you know, he's one of our best friends, so we are looking for another guitar player.
Yeah, as with everyone in the band, he kind of like struggles with his mental health and stuff. So we just wanted to give him his space and just help him heal.
Is there an open invitation for him to rejoin the band in the future, depending on circumstances?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Definitely. Like, yeah, we it was ended on really good terms and everything, and and like the fact that he's still happy to, like, if we need someone to fill in, he'll come in and do it. So yeah, so it's definitely in the cards, for him to return one day if he ever feels up to it. Well, it depends where we are at
if
the
we
time.
have a new guitar player,
Yeah.
we're not going to kick him out to get Omar in. But yeah, we'd love to have him back at some point.
Yeah, for the benefit of our viewers, so you guys buried on Sunday. You were successful in Heat 6 of Metal to the Masses at Hitchin. Excellent show. I loved it. And Omar actually filled in, didn't he? Even though he's officially left the band because you're such good friends with you. So let's pay our respects. I think that's a great gesture, and good to see that you haven't burnt any bridges and that you're still friends. So let's cast our minds back then to 17th of June 2022. This is the release date for your debut album, Heart of Gold. Now, you've only formed in late 2020, and you release an album of 13 songs with a duration of 54 minutes. What the hell were you doing were you doing anything other than writing music in those two
we were writing a little bit before we technically formed, because we were in a previous band together, and we had written about 3 songs, but the band we were in, they didn't really like the direction we were going in, and they were like, oh no, we've got to keep it commercial, make sure it gets played on the radio, and we were like, well, fine, we'll go make our own band with blackjack and hookers. So,
yeah, it kind of fell apart for other reasons as well, but
yeah.
yeah,
Without going too far into it. Yeah.
we just felt the need to go off and do something different, and the album was always something we wanted to do. So, I mean, I think we didn't actually sit down and write that often, but we write songs quite quickly for whatever
We
reason.
do, yeah. We've got songs that are written in 5 minutes, and and like it's, and we have a lot of songs. Like even now, we've got enough songs for album number 2 and number 3, like all ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, we've got an EP
yeah.
written that we're doing next. We've got an album written for after that. We're like mostly written. And we've got some stuff that we're thinking, oh, that will suit more the kind of sound that we're going for on the 3rd album. So we've got it all planned out.
See, that astonishes me, because I was going to ask, debut album, 54 minutes, 13 tracks. Would it not be in your interest to reduce that to 10, save 3 for a future EP? But you're telling me you've already got an EP in the works and enough songs for the next album.
It's because everything has a different sound in mind. Like we had, we did have some songs that like didn't make it onto the album, and like we wanted to use for like later on, because we were like, it doesn't really match these songs. So we kind of thought like, yeah, those will be used later on. But like the 13 tracks we had were like these, they all sort of gelled together really well, and they would sound really solid on an album. So we thought we'd just record them. And like I remember years ago with our other band that we ended up leaving, they wanted to do like an Indiegogo GoFundMe campaign thing, but we were like, we don't really want other people. We were happy to just fund it ourselves. We're just like, just do it, everything off our own backs. We didn't want to have to rely on anyone. And yeah, so we had the attitude of like, let's just go in, let's record, let's get it done, let's just do it.
And see, the thing is, if you ever look into like promoting and releasing stuff, everyone always tells you either do short EPs or singles, because you've got to get as steady releases of media like at all given times, and it's true. But at the time, we're sitting on so many songs that it's a horrible feeling to always be like in the backlog of songs that you've written trying to catch up.
Are you sure?
So-
Which we're doing anyway.
Yeah.
I think that's a good problem to have. Like when, a top-class football team have 4 strikers to choose from, and they're all on 100 grand a week, and they're all world-class players. That's known as a good problem to have, isn't it, if you're the manager? Surely that's a good thing, isn't it, to have this
Very similar situation, just a little bit less money, but yeah.
Well, a little bit. But because we've, like, if we write a song and that's going on the next EP, and we're writing songs for 2 albums away, then by the time we record that EP, we've already heard it so many times and we've got used to it, so it's not as exciting.
Yeah, but we also knew it'd be a point of interest as well to have an album, because every other band we knew on the local scene, they were all doing EPs and singles. We're like, there's no local bands with like a full album out that we really know of, especially not bands that have just like come out of nowhere. And we thought like people will, will see that and be like, oh wow, these guys got an album already. Like, and we just hope people would be impressed.
And it did give us the opportunity to do the album launch show at Club 85. We just played the album from start to finish. And I thought that was a really...
Yeah, it was a good excuse just to do a big show with like all our favourite bands supporting us and everything. Like, it was just a fun thing.
Yeah, I'm 40 years old, so I will always believe that the album is supreme. And you're right. I think that's what shocked me, really, when I looked at the ambition and the duration of it and the number of songs, and many of them are, north of 4.5 minutes, getting on for 5 minutes. So let's actually... I've got a challenge for you now. You two actually have to agree on these things. Can you choose the first track you think the listener should be introduced to? I mean, really, you should listen to it from start to finish, but I'm not sure many people do that now. So we're talking about someone who's got Spotify. They just go for playlists. What song from the Heart of Gold is going to hook them in first? And
I think we'll actually agree on this one.
Do you reckon Let's Get High?
Let's Get High.
Let's Get High.
Hi, I was not expecting that.
Because we released a lyric video for it, and instantly it just got so many more views than all of the other songs.
Yeah, the algorithm chose us.
It's not too soft. It's not too heavy. It doesn't take a long time to get into the song, so it's not as experimental. But it's also just solid and melodic, and
it really
gives a cool grungy vibe. So.
It showcases our songwriting the best, probably. Well, we think so. We were really proud of that one when we did it, because it's got so many moving parts, and so we definitely want someone to hear that and be like, oh yeah, this is I feel like that's a really good gateway for them they'll listen to that and be like, I need to listen to more songs now. So
there's a lot of cool bits on that where guitars are doing different things, like to reinforce melodies or to keep the normal chord pattern, because it was a bit confusing the way we wrote it, but in the end it worked out sounding quite cool.
Yeah, it was originally written fully. It was written fully as an acoustic piece that I just performed on my own and recorded on my phone and sent it to Toby. And then when it came back to me, it was a completely new song. He just completely rockified it, and I was like, "What have you done? This is awful." And I listened to it a couple of times, and I was like, "Actually, yeah, this is probably better."
Yeah, well, he was. I heard him strumming the guitar, and I was like, "Oh, well, that should be turned into this riff, and these drums need to go in there, and the bass needs to do this," because it would I don't know. It just heard it that way in my head and thought it was how it needed to go.
Yeah, so it's a real joint effort in the end.
I agree. I think this is a really high quality song. Track number 9, for the benefit of our viewers and listeners.
Yeah, we don't know.
you wrote it too long ago. You're not like listening to it now. So what stands out for me, for a start, the guitar tone is almost like that mid-80s Dire Straits album that sold millions in the 80s. But you're right, definitely grungy. And Rob, ironic falsetto vocals in that opening verse, would you say? It's like isn't it?
Pardon?
It's almost like you're crooning in there, in that verse.
Yeah, I just wanted something to be, just something really soft at the intro. Like I dabble in the falsettos every now and again.
It's kind of a bleak topic, so I think having the falsetto at the beginning gives the protagonist of the song more like the illusion of quiet desperation.
Yeah, sure that.
I am going to come on to that, by the way, and please use the word protagonist, because there's definitely a protagonist or even a concept to this album. Well, I can't tell you that. You can tell me, but we will come on to that. I found the lyrics fascinating of many of these songs, and I have to say humorous as well. But you're right. There's also a dark undercurrent there. While we're talking about Let's Get High, to me, what's clever about this? So, Rob, you present it to Toby, you singing on your acoustic guitar, and then Toby, you've actually made the bass guitar the main rhythm, haven't you, in those opening verses, and stripped out the presence of guitar.
Yeah. So I like a lot of grunge music, and I like a lot of sort of Led Zeppelin-y era stuff as well, and it just seemed that the person in the song is all alone, like in that point in time. So I want everything to come away and sort of give the vocal the space to breathe. And then once you've established the melody like that, you bring other stuff in and you can build on it from there. But I don't want to overcrowd the melody in the verse too early on.
I think there's a moment in this song where you're being quite playful with the rhythms. So am I right in, when you did perhaps the outline of this song, did you use a drum machine or program beats?
Yeah, so I would have programmed drums for the whole song, just like MIDI drums.
Yeah.
And for the most part, that's what you hear. Well, you don't. What I wrote there, for the most part, is what you hear on the album.
That's what we got our drummers play.
Our old drummer, he added some quite cool kick patterns during like a pre-chorus bit, and he put his own flavour on it. So
I know
it's
what you're
essentially the
talking
same
about.
drums, but some cool bits as well.
I know the moment you're talking about. There's a part, is it leading up to the second chorus, where you're very playful with some offbeats. It's like you're threatening a tempo change that never arrives. I think that is very sophisticated to do that. It's pulls you in, you're like, okay, it's going to speed up. And it doesn't. So it's like, oh, they were offbeats then.
Yeah, so during the lead up to the first chorus, the kick drum and the bass do that rhythmic thing, but the guitars don't. And then on the second time, we all do it together. So yeah, it's sort of both times, but it was too choppy rhythmically to do it early on in the song.
I just love it.
I didn't want it to sound like it was out of nowhere.
It's like you put a bit of a maths puzzle in a song that's got a clear score of structure. So yeah, and just one more thing at the end, Rob. So it's like you're mixing these falsetto with like really strong tenor vocals. Are you doing both of those, or Toby? Because I know you do the backing vocals. Are you doing any of those vocals where you've got almost like that conversation between the two styles going on?
So I did backing vocals for the
It's like a
last
bit near the end,
chorus
yeah.
and the long note at the end. But then when it goes softer and the falsetto parts, I had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, it's like mostly
It's
just me
I
trying
think
to.
it's just one take as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
They're not layered or anything.
no, yeah, it's just did like one thing, yeah. Yeah, I don't like. I was just taking a lot of inspiration from stuff like from artists like Chester Bennington. In fact, in the way that he would sing very soft and then go big and then quiet and stuff. So I was just trying to get a good in a lot of our songs. I try and get a good mix of everything in there because I just feel like it'd be more interesting to listen to. There's like
Even the heavy ones.
yeah, even the heavy ones. I try and make sure there's like lots of different. I'm trying to cram in as many different vocal styles as I can, essentially. Just as like every time I'm writing, I get bored very easily. Listening to music. So whenever I'm listening to songs, like I start to drift off, and I'm like, so when I'm writing songs, I'm like, I've got to keep it interesting. Like, because if I was listening to this, I'd be bored by now. So I need to do something different there. Let's do a falsetto. Now let's go low. Now let's scream. Now that So that's pretty much the whole. Like, that's as much thought as I put into it, to be honest.
We've got a thing for making songs almost impossible to sing as well.
Well, you didn't play this one live, I noticed, on Sunday, because you've shown me.
We might save it for next time, but it's a bit weird for like Metal to the Masses and stuff. We're always like, we should probably try and use our like heaviest songs or heavier songs because we feel like that's what the crowd want to see at those kind of shows. I mean, it's called Metal to the Masses, so we kind of held back on a lot of the light stuff, but I don't know. Sometimes we've done a lot of stuff in the past with these competitions, and it's gone down well because I think no matter what, they still appreciate the songwriting. So they, yeah,
definitely agree on that. So shall we choose a second song? Shall you choose a second song? So we've hooked this listener in. We've gone for Let's Get High. What do you think would be a good song to listen to next on this 13-track album?
I'd probably say Blackstreet's.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like if you listen to Let's Get High and then you listen to some of our other songs, it's going to lead you down sort of like you'll have tunnel vision thinking that the album is all sort of one kind of sound. But you've got a lot more classic kind of hard rock songs on there as well.
Blackstreet's has got that like a little bit of that satanic vibe that we wanted to get in with some of our songs as well. We wanted to like sort of like hint at that a little bit, like even with our logo. So
just in like a satire sort of way.
Yeah, just in a fun way.
Bit serious.
So we wanted to make sure people got that. In a way, it was like that was kind of like our Halloween track. We wanted something dark but fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a weird story behind writing it because the main, like the intro riff and the main riff and all that sort of stuff, I wrote at home just on my own. But then we started jamming on it in a rehearsal space, and you know, we wrote the drums for it and the bass, and we were all sort of going along. And Rob's just sort of sat there in the corner looking for, like, we were going for about 5 minutes, and he stopped, and I turned around. I was like, "Rob, you're all right." And he just stood up and he went, "Yeah, I've written it." And he like had the lyrics for the songs and melodies, and we just played it, and that was it. It was weird.
They don't all go that way though.
They don't.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
Yeah, there's some killer riffs on this. This is one of the heaviest songs on the album to me. I think you've got a good hybrid of top quality hard rock and mid-tempo thrash metal. So do you know, you said satanic vibe. Yeah, you can hear a traditional heavy metal sound to it almost, can't you, as well? But I can see, Toby, you had fun with this. This is you announcing yourself, saying, "Look, we're going to have 3 riffs before the vocals even come in." And that picking action, the palm muting technique on that guitar, sounds like you're going to snap the strings. That is really fucking heavy.
I am a little bit heavy-handed with that stuff.
Yeah, I love it. It's
Someone say too much.
It's like when you listen
tend to snap a lot of strings as well.
Yeah, I break strings like more than anyone else I know. It's ridiculous.
But you know, the thing is as well, so this is... This actually, I think this is a song that could have been even longer and it still would have been engaged. Because you deliberately... You put like I would call it a middle 8. There's this really good tension where you're building up, and you just know that there's 4/4 mosh parts coming in.
Yeah.
Every time it comes in, it just gets me. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go. So it does give you that enjoyment. But from a cerebral point of view, Rob, you wrote the lyrics? Can you don't need to give away too much. I understand songs need to retain their mystique. Can you give us an idea what this song's about?
Yeah, it's pretty much like I think when I wrote it, I lived in Stevenage. Stevenage people are gonna hate me now. I remember the Lewis Hamilton comments about the slums and all that, and they all like dived on him. But like, but yeah, it was like there's a lot of, it was like a dead end town. There's a lot of people with like no ambition, didn't really want to make anything of themselves. They just got comfortable with their mundane lifestyles. And I lived in like a sort of like a council estate before, and it was like, and yeah, it was just a lot of people living these lives like wanting something more, but never really even attempting to achieve that. And so it was basically like I looked at where I lived as like a black hole that just swallowed people up and stripped them of all ambition and all hopes and all dreams. And essentially this song is about breaking out of that and fighting for more and being
saying it's not going to be me.
Yeah, it's not going to be me. Yeah, I'm going to be the one who survives. Yeah.
That explains the uplift in the chorus, which has got a bit of glory to it, then, isn't it? The breakout. Yeah. Toby, you'll know this. Is that a key change in the chorus, or is it still in the same key?
No, same key.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I think it's because it centers around. What is it? Some of the lead parts sort of imply the relative major to that key, but it is, it's the same key. It just sort of implies a shift.
Yeah, I think this is an epic song, and now I know what it's about. So just to give you a background, Rob, so I'm originally from Lancashire, northwest England, but I moved to Hertfordshire in 2013, and it's Stevenage, and I'm still here. But I think my first shock was thinking this is like a crap version of Milton Keynes. When you see all the homogenous red brick architecture, but the old town's beautiful, and the surrounding countryside is breathtaking. So I am proud now to say I live in Stevenage. I think I've got used to it, and it's quite
same. Born and bred, lived there my whole life. I still really appreciate it for what it is.
Hate it, then.
It was just such a nothing place. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't. I don't know.
Yeah,
everyone I knew was just so content with doing nothing, and I was sick of it, and I just wanted to try and do something more. So yeah.
But that area that you lived
especially,
in,
I lived in a very rough area. To be fair, like the part of Stevenage that I lived in, like my neighbours got stabbed, and I saw it happen from like my window. And stuff like that. I had people throwing bricks at a house and stuff like that, and like there was a lot of messed up stuff that happened where I lived and like where I grew up. So like I always saw it as a bit of a scary place.
Wow. Didn't realise that you'd witnessed someone being stabbed.
I've seen so much more than that, but yeah.
So what about, let's go for a third track then. So we've got the one that hooks you in, that's quite playful, yet subtle in its complexities. We've got the absolute banger, haven't we, here, which is, let's be honest, this is
just the opening track,
soup, isn't it? This. So what's number 3? Go on, let's go for a third track. What do you reckon?
What else have we got on the list?
Okay. We just made like some notes of songs, like
because
we can't even remember them half the time.
So Give Me Your Life.
Give Me Your Life.
That's a little bit. I mean, Rob actually wrote the riffs to this one as well. But for me, it's a bit of like home to me, because I'm really come from more of like a blues rock perspective with guitar playing. Like one of my favourite guitar players, Slash. So that's sort of where I am most comfortable. So the fact that Give Me Your Life comes in and it's a little bit more rock and roll, a little bit Southern American sort of vibes, that was, I really enjoyed that.
I wanted to give it a little bit of an AC/DC feel.
Yeah.
I just wanted that was really trying to show people that like we go like we don't just do like soft and heavy. There's a lot of stuff in between, where we're just very much like hard, like traditional rock sound. And we just wanted to get flashy and very like a very like solid beat, like not, we didn't want to go too crazy with it. We just wanted to keep it nice and simple, really, just so we like get those hooks in there,
Yeah, this does, I have to be honest, this does stand out for me on the album. So it's track number 4, but it doesn't necessarily stand out in the best way when I come across it, because I like the intro track, where they've got these electronic processed beats and then this distant dystopian voice. Then you get these 2 bangers, and you get this colourful piece of almost like really heavy hair metal. Yeah, Guns N' Roses. I mean, even Avenged Sevenfold dabble with this, don't they? And the vocals, you're right, you've gone for like almost like a husky Axl Rose type approach. So the protagonist in this is where I suddenly thought, these lyrics are really interesting. Am I right in thinking this is about a rock star who has no self-awareness, thinks that everyone worships him, he has all this money, and his life is actually tragic and he doesn't know it? That's the message I got from it.
That's half of it. There's it's the story of 2 people. It's the perspective of someone who has nothing, who dreams every day of being a celebrity, being a rock star, wishing they had that lifestyle. And then like that's the first verse, and then the second verse is the rock star, and he's like, I'm so lonely, I've got this lifestyle, but I feel like I'm nobody, I feel like I'm a failure, there's so much pressure, and like and they want each other's lives, like, so the poor person, they wish they were a rock star, and the rock star kind of got like is like, I wish I could just be normal and just go out and not have people following me and
there's
irritating
always a little bit of a humour when we perform it live, because with our album launch, trying to celebrate the release of our album, we're on stage and Rob sings the line, "My album blows." It makes me laugh every time.
Yeah.
But there was a weird bit after the solo when we do that call and response part. When we wrote it, there was always going to be call and response, but it was just going to be, Rob singing back and forth with himself. But I thought well, when we play this live, we're always going to do that common, we need your help on this bit, shout the words back to us kind of thing. And I thought, why not try and capture that in the recording? So,
and also it makes sense with the song as well, being that like it sounds like the rock star on stage talking to the crowd and the crowd responding, like, you know.
So I wasn't really in the room at the studio at the time, and I thought, oh no, they're about to do that, so I had to run in. I was like, wait, let's do this instead. And it was just me and Rob. We shouted it back and recorded it like 20 times, laid it all up.
The part that sounds like a crowd is just us just shouting.
I thought it worked out quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is very intelligent, this song, because once I understood what the lyrics were about, it was like, this makes sense to give it that extravagance, that showmanship, you know, that Guns N' Roses vibe, which is always going to be heavy and rocks out. But it changed the mood of the album for me, but now I understand why. So what would you go for? I like the choices you're making by there because they're all really different. What about the fourth song then? So let's just recap. We've hooked them in with the sultry rock song that's got a bit of grunge in it, but also it's got some really interesting falsetto vocals. We've gone for the banger. Then we've gone for this sleazy hard rock song. What do you want to go for next as the fourth song?
1995.
Yeah,
Not
go for
1995, definitely. Yeah. The song to break them.
Yeah, go on, talk me through this. Like, it stands out for me, and obviously you played it live when I saw you a few days ago. How did it come into existence, this song? Track number 12.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
First thing I want to say is that Rob wrote, I think, almost all of the riffs in this song. And when he sent it to me, it was about 10 minutes long.
It was 8 and a bit minutes. All right, it wasn't quite 10
It was
minutes,
just shy of 10 minutes long. I had to sit there and listen to it and think, all right, cut that out, make this shorter. And I had no idea what to do.
The way we write a lot of time is me just like, I'm not even trying to make it make sense, I'm just writing whatever. A lot of it doesn't even match, like it's not in time at all, there's like no transitions, and I just go, here you go Toby, you figure it out, sort that mess out. And it's like the song equivalent of like a box of jumbled wires that he's trying to pick apart. But yeah, so I like demoed it, and I was just like, here's a cool heavy riff, and just like carried on making it. And my intent was to I just thought, let's try and make the heaviest song I could write at the moment. Like in the future we might try and go heavier, but at the time that was my sole intention, was just let's write a really heavy track just for fun. And sorry, that's my one. And yeah, so and then I said to you, and then you tried to, and then you sort of fixed it up, and then
it had a lot of like structural and transitional issues. Like, not a criticism, but like it was like going from one tempo just to something completely different with no gaps. And so I was like, oh my god, how am I going to do this? All right, fit a drum fill in here, but have the first half of the drum fill be this, and then slow it down to this, and then we'll go in. And I got to build up to that one, and it was a bit of a mess. But the lyrical meaning of the song,
well, it's just an existential crisis, like through and through, pretty much. Like there's elements of that in all of our songs, and a lot of the stuff we write. Is like there's always this kind of like, you know, what's the point? You know, to it all. So that was like, I just took that idea and just was like, let's make a whole song about that, really. And that's why it was called 1995, because it was like the best year of my non-existence. It was the year before I was born. So
I was gonna, when I saw it, I was like, okay, I wonder if the lyricist was born in this year. It is the first thing that comes to mind, isn't it? Yeah, do you know what? I'm surprised. I thought Toby had written this. I love the opening two riffs in this. They're quite moody, that first one that you've done there. That's got a bit of a dark grunge vibe to it. And then you're right, you go into this really sharp syncopation, almost like triplet, you know, like thrash metal.
So Omar actually wrote that riff.
Oh yeah, that bit. Yeah, that's the
Great
like
riff.
he didn't have much input into the songwriting, but one that he did was that riff.
That riff, yeah. We loved that. Like, he played it in rehearsal, and we were just like, oh, what are you doing there?
Yeah.
That's cool. We're
It's one
nicking
where
that.
you demand the drummer to accent it with a double kick, don't you, as well? It's like, you've got to do it. You know, that is born for that.
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole Tool thing. We had like Tool in mind when we were writing stuff like that. Yeah, and we thought because they do that as well. You know, a lot. They have the kick matching directly with the chug. So
I think one of the standout bits to me in this song is during the breakdown, the double kick stuff during that, because it starts doing, you know, just accenting the riff, and then it just sort of builds and goes, and I thought that was great. That was our old drummer Liam wrote that, and yeah, I was really happy with that.
Yeah, the to me, I've noted down here, there's a really malevolent extreme metal intrusion into this part, isn't there? I think it's after the second chorus. You called it the breakdown. It's got some really strong death metal growls there, and palm muted again, down picking.
Oh yeah.
Do you know, you said that you like to use different styles, Rob. I think this is probably the archetypal song. I've noticed that you're changing styles almost within the same bar, and that is such a risk. And I think you pull it off. And to do that live must be one hell of a challenge. When you're starting with a head voice and then ending where you're putting pressure on, you know, like the rasp of your vocal cords. How the fuck are you doing that?
Yeah,
Well, he's very good.
Yeah, exactly. That's like, why are you even doing that? I guess is my question. Why are you thinking that that's possible?
I just wanted something, especially with that song in particular. I was manic. I just thought crazy. Let's just go really wild with it, and I wanted to sound insane. Oh my god! Please do not. Sorry. Oh, it's empty. That's
Yes.
right. Right. So put his drink right next to my PlayStation. That's all right. Yeah, I just wanted to sound so angry with that one because I was like the subject kind of called for it, so I wanted to just be out of my mind. So when I wrote it, I was just like, you know, this needs to be aggressive, and this needs to be down here, and then when I go up here, and just I like keep the listener guessing, you know, and just sort of string them along.
Also, the beginning of that chorus, I think that melody, those couple of notes it would sound weird to do in a full chest kind of voice. So it works doing it in falsetto, but I think it would have sounded weird.
And we experimented it as well. Like in some of them, it's like hard to tell, but with like layered vocals where I'm like screaming, but also like following a melody, and then also like shouting it as well, like with my full chest voice, and I'm like layered them together so that it has this like weird, thick, aggressive sound.
After the first chorus.
Yeah,
that's a lot more of like a, what's the word? Like a metalcore, but sort of new metal vibe on that bit after the first chorus.
yeah.
I really like that. It was one of my favourite parts, but it's so short.
The whole thing was sort of like a homage to my metalcore roots, because like my first ever band was like a metalcore band that I used to write for that, and that's why like like this song I had a field day with it, because I was like, finally I get to, like, it's been so many years since I played music like that, so I finally got to go back, and I had a lot in me. I was like, yeah, I need to make a heavy song here. So yeah, it's just me having fun.
Understandable. So we've only got 4 minutes left. So let's choose at least one more. We're going to do 6, but we'll choose a 5th song. What do you want to go for? Go as the last song, you know, as a
Do one more thing.
sampler.
One more thing.
One more thing. Right, okay, yep. And what's the reason why you would choose this?
It's a song that holds a lot of importance, like to everyone in the band, but to like me in particular. That's a song that I wrote. And yeah, it just has a lot of sentimental meaning.
Got a good alternative rock vibe to it, hasn't it? I think you're really pushing your voice into the higher octaves. Again, very ambitious. You pull it off. And I did notice though that you're keen to actually bring in a lot of guitar distortion towards the end as well, aren't you? You've got that almost like chilled out vibe to it. Good tom drum action I noticed as well from your drummer. So how did this come about? Did you write it, or Toby, did you write the song?
Oh, I wrote the whole thing.
Yeah, he wrote everything except like drums and bass.
Yeah, and then the whole intent.
Stuck a couple of lead bits in there as well.
Yeah, but yeah, we just wanted to I wanted to have the whole song build up. I wanted to start really soft, then just get bigger and bigger, Yeah, until it sort of fizzles out at the end. Yeah,
There's a lot of like with the meaning. There's undertones of sort of anger in the lyrics the whole way through, and the end is just like
it's a very bitter song lyrically.
With luscious melodies. So there's the paradox.
Yeah.
They are. I really. There's even a strumming acoustic guitar in there, isn't there? It almost sounds percussive, doesn't it? Yeah. Good choice. And all 5 of those songs you've chosen are so different. But it doesn't sound like a different band or a compilation album of a band's career over 20 years. Where you can see the different phases. So yeah, I definitely encourage our viewers, go and download, or you don't need to download it, stream, buy it, listen to Heart of Gold, 54 minutes, 13 tracks. There's an EP coming, as you said. There's another album coming after that. So clearly, things are looking up. You're looking for a new guitar player as well. Is there anything else you'd like to say about this album in the last minute, just to entice people in as well?
Listen to it, come to the gigs, give us loads of money.
I was going to say, it's a good album, but our next album's going to be much better. So it's worth definitely like following us just to see what's coming next, because the stuff we've got in the bank is going to blow it out of the water. So.
One thing I would like to say just quickly about our songwriting is that I think we sort of do it different to the other bands that I've heard more recently, just because most of the bands I listen to, it sort of sounds like they sit down and think, right, I'm going to write a really heavy song, I'm going to write a metalcore song, or whatever. Almost all of our songs, they're just songs in like a sort of pure sense. And then they all go through a filter of being, oh, this is a grunge song now, or this is a rock song now, or this is a metal song.
Being chopped up.
Any one of them, you could just play on an acoustic guitar and sing it.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think
that's what people say about, like one of my favorite bands is Depeche Mode. And listen to them, and you could take any of those multi-layered synth-ridden songs, put them on a piano, and you're like, yeah, this is a great song. You're right, you can strip it down, can't you, and hear it, which you wouldn't be able to do with a mathcore band. You'd be like, well, how the fuck can you play that on piano?
I think that's just one of the contributing factors to why we sound the way we do.
Yeah, excellent. So we've come to an end there. I will be watching you in the next round, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure.